All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Know Your Numbers deWiz webinar here on the deWiz Facebook and YouTube pages. We thank everybody for taking some time out of their day to join us. We're going to have a very special guest today, 10-time major winner, legend of the game, and deWiz ambassador, Annika Sorenstam, is going to join us here in just a few moments. She's going to be joined by deWiz Chief Technology Officer and co-founder, Markus Westerberg. And let's just get started right now. I'm going to welcome Markus into the broadcast. Let's get Markus in here. There he is. Hello, Markus. How we doing today?
Hi, Matt. I'm doing real well and looking forward to this another webinar with deWiz where we get to meet our customers, our users, and help them get even better in golf and enhance the experience of deWiz. So I'm looking forward to it.
Very special part about this company that you can interact directly with the co-founder, the chief technology officer, and today a very special guest, Annika Sorenstam. We're going to welcome her in right now. Annika, there she is. Hello, Annika. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Markus, give the people a little brief rundown of what we're going to be talking about today with Annika.
So we're going to keep talking about this, know your numbers. And why do you need to know your numbers? Well, like so many great players have said, that the feel is not real, and Annika can attest to this. You think we're doing something in our swing, we're probably not. I'm going back to the old Hogan quote, do everything that feels exactly the opposite, and you might come close to the perfect golf swing. And yeah, feel is not real. What do you say about that, Annika?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's funny how when you certainly get the numbers compared to what you feel, it's not always there, but you can't mess with science, you can't mess with numbers. So the truth is right there in front of you.
Yeah, it's great to get this objective view on your golf swing and feeling like, okay, it feels like I'm taking the club way back, but I'm only at X centimeters or inches in the backswing. And then I know that, yeah, I can do it a little bit more. But I wanted to talk to you, Annika, today about one of the great strengths of your game, the wedge game, and the distance control and the wedges, and how you use deWiz to fine-tune the length of your backswing to control the shot distance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with it. deWiz, as you know, you just literally put it on your wrist, and it gives you instant feedback on whether it's transition, whether it's tempo, whether it's the length of the backswing. But the wedge game has always been an important part of my game. I feel like I hit a lot of wedges, maybe on short par threes, second shots on par fours, or maybe even, the third shots on par five. So it's a really important, important clubs. I got 4 wedges in my bag. So everything from literally 0 yards to, if you include the pitching wedge, we're talking up to 125 yards of carry. So, it's important to have distance control. It's important to have the feel. And be able to repeat under pressure, as you can imagine. So I spend a lot of time, working on my wedges. And, for me, it's, a few things to think about. I think, I like to come in a little bit more shallow than some players. Some players come in very deep. What that does, you put a lot of spin on the ball. The ball will most likely climb quite a bit. And if it's a windy day, it can make it a little difficult to have the distance control. So consistency is important for me. I also talk a lot about the length of the backswing. I think when you hit wedges, the length of the backswing determines the length of the shot. It might sound pretty simple, but if you think about it, if you swing back half and then accelerate through, which we always want to do, accelerate through, you get a certain distance with a certain club, and then, you can increase it to 75% or 100%, whatever you want in your backswing. And then you just change the wedge from 60 degree to 54, to 48 and pitching wedge, and you have those different distances. And what deWiz has helped me is just kind of find that length of the backswing and correlate that with a distance, which has helped me to be more consistent.
Yeah, so actually what you're talking about here is you have a system of your wedges controlling. You have the full swing, which we know is quite easy to repeat, but then we can add a swing that is a bit shorter and even way shorter, like you're talking about 3/4 and half. For me, that would be 120, 180 centimeters. For you, it's something different. But then you control these 3 swings and you have 4 wedges. Now we're talking about 12 different wedge distances, which is quite a good weapon to have in your bag.
Oh, absolutely. I would say it's probably my strength. It's it's all about just finding that and trusting it. You can imagine when you stand there in a tournament on Sunday, how crucial it is knowing it. And, what you see sometimes is water in the front, bunker in the back. But I don't worry about that. All I know is, okay, it's 78 yards or it's 94 or it's 102, whatever it is. I know what to do. And that, just knowing that, having the confidence and having the trust is so important, and be able to repeat it. And I think that's, when you practice the distance wedges with deWiz, of course, as you know, you can do it in different modes, whether you do the challenge or if you just kind of stand there on your own and hit shot after shot and get the instant feedback. That's just kind of what it takes to give you that confidence. And like you said before, feel is not always real, because, you can't really see it. You feel like, oh, I thought I was over here, but then you really get to true numbers. So it's a fun way to practice. It's a fun way to be more accurate, of course. And that's, I think, the best players out there. They have good feel, but they also have good technique, and they can repeat it under pressure.
Yeah, and like we see so many club golfers, they have a water in front, and this water automatically scare us, so we hit it a little bit harder, we swing it a little bit longer. But now when you can really dial in that, that 100 centimeter backswing or doing it in inches, you can trust it more, like you said, and not just overdoing it because you're fear of the water and hitting it long. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about tempo. I visited you in late September this year, and your tempo is another one of your strengths. You'll have quite a lot of them. Especially the wedges, you have a very, very solid tempo, around 2-1. I know you didn't know that before deWiz, but how important is tempo for consistency in your game?
Oh, it's huge. For some of the reasons we mentioned, but just to talk a little bit about my warm-up. I always warm up with the shorter shots first, and when I come to the driving range, I turn to my wedges. I will always start with them, and again, this is really where I work on my distance wedges. And even in my warm up, I might put on the deWiz, but just knowing what to do. I will warm up with 60 degree, maybe hit 10-15 shots, and then move up to my 54, my 48, and have that consistent routine. Consistent routine not only gets you warmed up and your body loose and all of those things, but I think it does also prepare you mentally for the round that's coming up, and kind of get rid of all the other clutter that we bring into the driving range and start focusing on different shots. So tempo is the most important. I would stand there, and a lot of times I even put my feet together and really feel like I'm rotating my upper body so that I don't start moving sideways or laterally this way. Because if you start moving, right and left moving, you're going to come into the ball a little bit inconsistently. And sometimes you might hit it thin, sometimes you might hit it fat. I think we all know what we're talking about, but just kind of stand there together with the feet and really feel the rotation in the upper body. And again, it's not, as you know, the wedges, it's not about power. I know some people, they always talk about, well, I hit my pitching wedge 150. I said, well, what do you hit 110 when you need to? It's more important to that's why we have 14 clubs, so you can get it to the right distance. So it's more about finding the feel, visualizing, having the same ball flight to me is really important, because if you hit it low sometimes and sometimes high, it's just the inconsistency is there. So the tempo, again, just warming up, upper body, and then when I start to get looser, take a little longer backswing, still accelerate through and standing still with the lower body. And I keep doing that every single time. So you can imagine with the warm-up routine, whether it's Monday afternoon or Sunday at the US Open, I will have the same warm-up. So that tempo leads me into the 9-irons. That tempo leads me into the 7-irons. That tempo leads me into, a hybrid or a driver. And, when I'm done warming up about, a total of an hour and 15 minutes, I will still hit a few wedges before I go there. And then I have a perfect tempo. So you're right, before I really start digging into these numbers, tempo has just really been my strength. And we know that when you play and maybe you get a little excited, you have a little adrenaline pumping, it's easy to kind of lose that tempo, especially if you're facing a difficult shot. We have a tendency to be really quick. So for me, that tempo is something I go back to. And, growing up in Sweden, we can have some wintry, cold fall weather days when, we swing shorter and shorter and you kind of lose that tempo. So tempo is the one thing I go back to all the time. So deWiz has really helped me to put those numbers together. So when I'm a little bit out of sorts, I know what to do.
Yeah, excellent. And we happen to have one of those wintry days here in south of Sweden today. Before we go to the question from the audience, I want to talk about another Floridian that we are very happy now to have on our team. And I know that Martin Hall is a friend of yours, and we are very happy to have him on your team. And could you just mention a little bit about Martin and his vast experience in the game and the friendliness that he brings?
Yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, he's known for his teaching skill. He's a teaching professional, and he has been for many, many years. You might recognize his voice and his teaching methods on the Golf Channel. I think his show is in 7 different countries, so you can really tune in and get a good understanding. But what I like about Martin, I don't work with him personally, but I played against his wife, Lisa Hall, on the European Tour, but she was also on the Soham Cup. So I've known them for quite some time, but, he really understands the importance of getting instant feedback. He teaches so many students of all kinds of levels, whether it's professionals, beginners, men, women, old and young. And he really sees the benefit of deWiz and be able to translate that into his students. So I think he's a great addition to the team. He understands teaching. He understands numbers, and he also has a passion for the game. And I think the people that are wanting to learn more, that's what we share.
Yeah, fantastic. We're so happy to have him on our team as well. And Matt, over to you for some questions to Annika.
Yeah, Annika, so one question we got from Michael is, how have you seen technology, whether it's deWiz or all of the other new tech brands that have come into the game of golf? How has that kind of changed the way that maybe you look at your golf swing, or you look at the way that you're practicing on a day-to-day basis? How has that technology impacted you from the way that you look at your golf game?
Well, I mean, I would say technology is amazing in the game of golf. I stepped away 13 years ago, and when it comes to that time, I feel like I'm a dinosaur when it comes to technology. I mean, we really didn't have a lot at that time. And even go, 10 years before that, we were carrying big VCRs to record our swings. And now you can do it in, just like deWiz, like a wearable device. You literally put it on like a watch, and it weighs nothing, and it gives you all that information. So I think it's been good for the game. I think from a player standpoint, I think it's really helps you to not just see what you're doing, but also feel what you're doing, and also, learning how to compare to what you want. You set up like kind of your standards or your baseline. And, now, of course, I'm in a different chapter in my life when, golf practice is not my number one, but I still care about my game and I need to go back. So I look at my standard numbers and my basics. I'm like, okay, this is where I need to be. And, especially one of the things that we talked with Markus when he came is, my backswing is getting shorter and shorter, and you just really don't really see that, and you just kind of go with what you have. But I realized I got to work on that, and with the deWiz, it gives me that instant number. So I'm like, I keep reminding myself to swing a little further. It feels like I'm over swinging. Obviously, I'm not. I'm far from it, but I think it's great. I think also if you look at turn on TV and you watch a golf tournament with all the technology that they can provide, whether it's numbers, club head speed, launch angle, tempo, I mean, whatever. Now they do so many fun things. I think it's exciting. I mean, I think technology is something golf has embraced, and I think it's helpful for the game. But of course, like anything, you want it in moderation. You still have to have feel. You still have to go out there and hit the ball from A to B.
Awesome. And Annika, we thank you so much for your time. A couple more minutes here while we have Annika. We have one more question that came in. This is from Lass. He wants to know, when did you know what your tempo numbers were? Was it something that you were always aware of prior to using deWiz? And have you ever tried to change your tempo numbers and your ratio? That was what the question that just came in.
Yeah, no, I think it's really important to know your numbers. And I'm going to be honest. I mean, really before that, I really didn't know what they were. Keep in mind, I stepped away 13 years ago, and I would be on these different type of machines, and I knew my club head speed, I know the ball speed and launch angle, but really not so much my tempo. It wasn't until just recently with deWiz I put it on, and I was able to experiment on my own. And I think that's what I like about it, is I can take my time. I'd be on the driving range and I put on deWiz, and I have the app, and I look and I analyze, and it gives me a good feel. I'm not trying to to change my game. I think my game was okay, and so now it's more knowing my game and trying to maintain what I have. So now I can when I hit a shot, I get instant feedback, and it tells me maybe a little too quick, a little too slow, and then I just try to repeat what I know works for me. So, and that's the thing is, my numbers doesn't always mean that they might fit you or somebody else. I think it's important that it's personalized, because I'm 5'6". There are golfers out there that are 6'4", stronger, younger, and everything. But you have to swing within your numbers, because that's really, I think, the key to good golfers is that they know their limits. They know what they can do, and that's really what this is about. I think is finding you. You can improve your numbers. That helps you. But I can tell you one thing. I put my kids have tried the deWiz, and I think Markus was sharing me some of the numbers, the length of the backswing from Bryson DeChambeau, and of course my son, he wanted to try that, and he was just swinging so hard, and I said, you know what, he's a little older, a little stronger, but he thought it was fun. So you can have those little challenges, those little comparisons. But in the end of the day, just focus on your game and trying to improve a little bit, and you're going to be a happy golfer.
And I'm glad you brought up the challenges, because that's what we're going to look at next in this webinar. We're going to have Markus demonstrate the DistWedges challenge. Annika, is that something that you have that you've done yet, or are you planning on doing?
I have, yeah. I have done quite a bit of that. I think it's fun. It's a great way to kind of finish up your practice. What I do is on the range. I put out different cones for different distances or different head covers, just to kind of give me a visual. And then when I'm finished with my practice session, I tried a little distance challenge, and it's fun to see if my practice work out. So I'd like to compare with what I do. It's a great way to finish up with good tempo. I've done a little bit of the length of the backswing. Right now I'm nurturing a little bit of a shoulder issue, so I haven't really been out there, but I certainly get back to it when I'm ready to go.
Awesome. I know you got to take off here. Markus, any last words for Annika?
No, really, thank you, Annika, for being a great deWiz ambassador. We're very appreciative to all your insights and all your knowledge. And thanks for joining us today. And have a good rest of the day in the Florida sunshine.
I will. Thank you. No, I'm a proud ambassador and look forward to working more with it and get to know my numbers even a little bit more.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Annika. Have a good day.
Take care, everybody. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Annika Sorenstam, so nice to have her taking the time out of her day to come and join us, Markus. That's I mentioned a little bit at the top, but that's something that you get with deWiz here is, we are that startup mentality. It's a small team, and you have the ability to interact in webinars like this with yourself, who, co-founder of the company, and then we're going to have many more of our ambassadors coming to join us on these webinars moving forward as well.
Yeah, and I want to talk about, one of the first times we met with Annika, she didn't know what this thing deWiz was. No one knew, because we kept everything secret and everything. And she was like, it was a bad day in Florida. It was in February, just before COVID hit and everything. And it was cold and windy and everything. And Annika just hit a few shots with deWiz, and she goes, this is fun. And you can see that the smile on her face, like she likes that. Because like you said, she never had that feedback before, and it's unique, and we're really happy that she likes it so much. And I want to talk about some numbers of Annika's. Mm-hmm. We talked about a little before, but I want to go into some driver numbers, because like what we worked on. I was there in late September this year. We did a good driving range session, and we could see that Annika was short in her backswing. Again, her 7-iron was 106 centimeters. We got that to 115 quite rapidly, and she was carrying the ball a good 10, 11 yards farther. That's one club increase in shot distance. And her driver was from 113 to 124, 125, and again, a lot more powerful. Now, when Annika got to that length of backswing, she felt like she had less control. Yes, increasing the length of backswing, it's to enhance your power. For some people, it also helps to increase your precision. Mm-hmm. And then again, give yourself time when you increase the length of backswing to get used to it. And you will probably find that you find yourself in that longer swing again, but with more power. Annika, again, at the tempo, her start to impact number with a driver of 124, transition -2. She's at 0.93 start to impact. Annika's swing doesn't look that fast when you look at it, but it's fast. She's explosive, and her tempo is quite low. She's about 2.5, 2.4 to 1, meaning that in relation, her backswing is a bit fast. But that gives her that fantastic control. Very few of the best players are above 3 to 1. And with a good width of 65 centimeters. Yeah. So let's talk. Annika mentioned the challenge.
Yep.
Let's talk about the challenge because we're going in from this webinar to the next webinar with Henrik at the 7th of December. We're throwing out a challenge for you all out there. And the challenge is, I'm going to do a DistWedges challenge. If you can beat my score today, you get as many chances as you want. And you post that, you'll get a gift from us. And you know more about this, Matt.
I do. So we will be giving out some special prizes. I'm not going to announce right now what the prizes are, but it's definitely going to be worth your time to try and beat Markus in his DistWedges score. Markus, prior to doing this, because we're going to do it live, so whatever your score here is, that's the score that you have to beat. Tell the folks, what is your high score coming into today?
My best score was 95.
Okay.
That was a few months ago. So let's see what happens today.
Awesome. Let's do it. So one thing that, and we'll let Markus go ahead and start setting up the DistWedges challenge. But one thing that I wanted to kind of reiterate was something that Annika brought up about how she puts head covers or cones out to mark distances when she's doing the DistWedges challenge. And I think that is a great way to utilize this application in this challenge mode, because what it does is when you're in discovery and you're learning your different backswing lengths of your wedges, you start to get an idea of, okay, my 25-inch backswing correlates to a 60-yard shot. And when you do that and you're in the DistWedges challenge, if you have a kind of a benchmark of, okay, I know a 30-inch backswing is angling towards this green over here on the driving range, pick out points on the range of where you're trying to aim at. And it's going to not only help you hit those marks that the challenge is asking for, but it's going to give you more purpose in your practice as well.
Yeah, excellent. And one thing that's easily overlooked, the DistWedges challenge is a good fun, good challenge your friends and especially yourself to improve. But what the DistWedges challenge does, it gives you an awareness. Yeah. An awareness of where you are in your swing. And that awareness is going to help all of your golf game. So, but before we start, because there are folks out there that might not know what the DistWedges challenge is, it's 10 shots with 10 given length of backswings. And now the app will randomize these 10 length of backswings, but they will be always the same. So you will always hit the same 10 shots, so you can compare your numbers to yourself and your friends. And I'm going to do it in centimeters because I only know my numbers in centimeters. And I know it's interesting. Many Americans have reached out to me, and they're also doing centimeters because they like that kind of, well, centimeters are more without the digits after, but also that it's kind of foreign to them. So they like it instead of the inches. But in the app, you can choose inches very easily. So I just want to see again, talking a little bit about the app. Up here, we can see that the app is not connected. It's red. I'm going to turn DeWiz on. One quick push of the button. I'm going to hold it still. So now it says it's connected and it needs to calibrate. Usually you should do that on a stable surface. You can do it like this also. It takes longer time. When you put it on a stable surface, it's calibrated in a second.
Much quicker. Yep.
So I'm going into the challenge here. I got my 58-degree wedge. And now the app is going to call out the number and give me my points. No warm up. Let's go.
Target 122 centimeters.
All right. So once again, whatever Markus scores on this DistWedges challenge is what the DeWiz community is going to try to beat leading up to our webinar on December 7th with Henrik Stenson.
Result 116 centimeters, 81 points.
So as you see, after each swing,
centimeters.
you're going to get a score based on how closely to the mark
Result 125 centimeters. 96 points. Target 84
85 and a
centimeters.
96 points so far.
Result 75 centimeters. 67 points.
All right.
Target 97 centimeters. Result 88 centimeters.
So as you can see, it's totally randomized.
Target 102 centimeters. Result 104 centimeters. 96 points. Target 64 centimeters.
And we're also going to be having our deWiz ambassadors are also going to be participating in this
Result
DistWedges
57
challenge.
centimeters. 76 points. Target 76 centimeters. Result 76
Right
centimeters.
on the money.
Full score. Target 89 centimeters. Result 88 centimeters. 99 points.
And something that's important to remember for folks at home is you can see Marcus is in his little studio doing this. You can do this at home. You don't need a ball. You don't even need a club.
Result
You can just
109
work on your hands,
centimeters.
and
85
this can be done
points.
from anywhere.
Target 69 centimeters. Result 65 centimeters. 89 points.
And challenge complete.
Total
Challenge
score
score?
86 points.
86.
Sorry, guys. But you get more than one chance.
You get more than one chance. My high, I believe, is 85 coming into today. So I got a little work to do to beat that 86. But Marcus, just, a question that I kind of have is, and I think people would be interested in knowing is, where did the idea for this DistWedges challenge, how did that come about? What was the thought process in adding that to the application?
Now, again, the length of backswing is so huge. It can do so many things for your golf game. It can make you hit the ball longer, more accurate. And the wedge game, of course, fine-tuning that. And what I found when I met the regular club golfers, could be 30 handicaps down to single digits, very quickly they learned to find where that length of backswing was. So I said, I love to say, like, give me an 80 centimeter swing, and everybody goes, what? And I'm just saying, I know you have no idea, because there was never a distance number of your length of backswing. But just hit a few shots and you will know. And very quickly they go, okay, 120, now 80 is shorter than 120, 90, okay, a bit shorter again, and then find that. And it turned into a little bit of a game, because some guys were watching around and seeing, like, okay, can you hit this number? Can you hit that number? And I thought, we're going to do that, because that's going to be real fun, because you can challenge your friend. But when we built the DistWedges challenge some time ago, I was just obsessed with it. I was doing it all the time because I wanted to push that number. I want to push that number. And one thing that's great about the DistWedges challenge is pressure. Mm-hmm. You get to practice yourself under pressure, because when you get those good scores in the beginning, you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to mess it up. And if you're a bit off, you're going to get a really low score. I think I had something like a 56 points in there that was pulling me down quite a lot. So you get to practice that mental capacity as well. So that's another great part about the DistWedges challenge. And again, we're challenging you all out there. Beat my score of 86, and you will get a good little gift from us. And I want to give a little tip. You can even do, if you're in the office and you don't have the space, mm-hmm. you can do the DistWedges challenge without a ball.
Yeah.
Because it's measuring a length of backswing, and even without a club.
Yep.
So go out there and chase those points.
And Marcus, so and one other question I have is, so you were using a 58-degree wedge right there. Do you mix up what wedges you use when you're doing the DistWedges challenge, or are you primarily sticking to your 58?
No, I do. I do mix up. Yeah, absolutely.
Because like you said, if you have, like, Annika has 4 different wedges in her bag, and so that's, ultimately 40 different types of shots that you're hitting with 4 different clubs, 10 different backswing lengths. So it really gives you a better idea of, okay, I need to, I need to carry over a bunker here. I need to get a little bit more loft under my club, or in a situation where, okay, I can just run it up there from 80 yards, and you can work on different clubs and different backswing lengths. It's a really great feature of the deWiz.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. I was going to show, because this is the challenge. This is a game. It's fun. It's challenging. I want to show you how you practice your wedges with the deWiz. I'm just going to see done. There we go. I'm going to go into the DistWedges here now, and I go into practice goals up here in the app. Hope it's visible. Yeah. Here we got 3 different modes here. We got the manual, where I can choose any of my length of backswings. Again, my full swing is 140, so my wedge swings are 120, 100, 80, and 60. These are my gears. Gear 1 goes to shortest, like in your car. When you get to gear 4, you get faster. And so I can do that manually, meaning I repeat the same length of backswing every shot. I love this shuffle mode, because the shuffle mode is going to shuffle between my 4 length of backswings. So I just stand there, and the app calls out to me 60, 80, 100, 120, and just shuffles them, so I get to practice my 4 length of backswings. Like, this is what Annika uses. She gets these various length of backswings to control the shots. So now we have 4 length of backswings, and I have 3 wedges. That would be, again, 12 different shot distances to control, which is fantastic. But I only need to control 4 swings. I got 3 clubs, 4 swings. So, and then you can also go into the random mode, where it just, you put a lower limit and a higher limit, and the app just randomizes between any number between these limits. So this is where you work on your DistWedges before you go into the challenge, which is at the bottom of the app right here.
Absolutely. And I know it's something that I've been using a lot, because my wedge game, pretty porous at the moment. I'm trying to work on it. So it's a great way of improving your wedge game, getting an understanding for that distance control. And it's just another just great feature of the deWiz app. Markus, I think the people are really going to enjoy today's webinar. The first 15 minutes with Annika, I thought, went really well. So thank you to you for taking the time out of your day to join us. And another big thanks to Annika for taking the time out of her morning. And it's sunny in Florida. It's not sunny up here in Baltimore. And it sounds like it's not great weather out in Sweden either. So she took the time out of her morning to join us, talk to our users, talk to our community. So we thank her once again for that. Any final words before we head out of here, Markus?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. I'm really excited for this challenge to see how many is going to beat me. I think you're going to be quite a few, because you're going to practice hard, and I'm looking forward to see these numbers creep up, and maybe someone can beat my high score of 95. And I want to hear your stories. Please tell me your stories. You can go to our Facebook page and give us your stories about how did you feel when you approached the shots 8, 9, 10, when you had the record score going on. Did you feel that pressure that you feel when you're about to lower your handicap, or you're playing in the tournament or the local club championship? Because you're going to improve. When you practice under pressure, it will improve to play under pressure.
And real quick, Markus, before we get out of here, we did have one more comment come into the chat. One more question. This is from Eric. He says, is deWiz able to tell the difference between a longer backswing that is driven by a bigger body turn and a longer backswing driven by arms only?
In a way, yes, because a bigger body turn is going to give you a wider swing, most likely. And look at the width number, max width number, which is also in all the data sheet from every deWiz swing.
Yeah, Eric. So when you take your swing, you'll see the length of backswing, but then also on that sheet, you'll see a max backswing width. And so that correlates to your question and what you are referring to. And remember, when you're in the app and you're in discovery mode, you can click on, you can rearrange the data points to however you want to see them. So if you want to be able to see your length of backswing followed right there by your backswing width, you can rearrange the settings so that you can see them in that order, and that will give you an idea of whether you have that body turn or if you are just arms.
And I can also comment real quickly on Eric's question here, because it brings me back to a time when I was with VJ Singh on the driving range. And he's always working on getting that big turn, full backswing, 70 inches is his target. And we were talking about this, and I see he just doesn't get his width out as far as he can. And I told him, look at the width number here. Can you get that bigger? And as soon as he got that width number bigger, his shoulder turn, he could feel really how his shoulder turn, and he hits the ball damn good, but he hit it even better. And so that's a good point, Eric.
Absolutely. And that pretty much does it for today's Know Your Numbers webinar. Markus, thanks again for taking the time out to join us. Couple of quick housekeeping items before we get going. We mentioned a bit earlier, but Annika was in a golf.com story last week with Luke Kerr-Dineen. So if you haven't checked that out, she talks about working on her tempo and how she's turned to deWiz at this point in her career to work on that tempo. She talked a lot about that today, but you can check out that story on golf.com. Once again, Martin Hall joining the deWiz team. We touched on that. So we're very thankful to have Martin Hall joining the deWiz family. And then the last thing is I was actually down at the Nota Begay Junior National Championship golf tournament over the weekend. That will be aired on Golf Channel on, I believe it's December 4th. It will air on Golf Channel. Myself and Nota Begay shot a little tutorial video on how to use deWiz. Nota is another big fan of ours and a big supporter of ours as well. So you can check that out on the broadcast on Golf Channel of the Nota Begay Junior National Championship golf tournament from down in Louisiana. So that was great for us to be there and great for Golf Channel to give us some recognition. So check that piece out, and we'll be posting it all over our social media when it does air. Markus, thanks again for your time. We're going to sign off for today's webinar. Next one coming up December 7th with Henrik Stenson. Looking forward to having another suite on this Know Your Numbers webinar.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Markus. Everyone have a good day.